That's only an assumption, and it's probably not true. If they say, I'm just going to the store, I'm just going to work, I'm just going to work and straight back, I want to know that that's true. So what I'll do is, before they go to work every now and then, I know exactly how, because we trace it the first time they go to work, we know exactly how many miles it is. Okay? Now, if it's off by anything, because we'll tell them, there's the gas station that you use, there's your work, there's our home. You should have the exact miles when you get home as it did to take you to get here. If those miles are not accurate, it's done. Well, what if I need... It's done. Yeah, but I could. What if I just need something for my hair? Oh, wait a minute. You're not allowed any money. We don't give them money. There is no money. They don't get money until they leave because we're storing every bit of it so where they have something to graduate on and do something with. And I walk them through processes. I tell them, you know, my son is 19 years old, and my son has got more investments in stock and more investments in things because he just works in stores because he wants to, by the time he's 20 years old, he always, you know, he wants to have his property and he wants to build his own house. Okay, well that's his deal. These other people, they just can't wait to go out there and spend $80 on a meal. They don't have nothing, zero. And they're living with us. So no, as long as you're living with me and I have to pay your way, I'm not going to let you spend any money to get that really nice hair stuff that you need. Okay? Or I can't have that kind of makeup because that makeup, you know, it's not good for my skin. I buy this makeup. Well, that makeup is like 10 times the amount of money. Sorry, you'll have to run around without it. Well, I'm not good looking without it. I'm not arguing that point, you know. I'm not going to argue that point. I'm just not letting you spend the money on it. That's all. Okay? Right now, it's worth being ugly for a while. This is going to be hard, love. You're there to stop them from killing themselves. So how much do you love them? Don't be sucked up into it. How much do you really love them? Stop them. Stop them no matter what. My son gave a thing. In fact, it was at this school. My son went to this school a couple of years ago. And might have been 3 years ago now. Anyway, a couple years ago. Anyway, he went to the school. And he gave a little thing downstairs at the school. And they were talking about what your parents would do if you went out and did this. Okay? Anything stupid like that. And my son stood up and against everybody else who was willing to work with their kids. And, you know, and it sounded all great. My son said, my dad would make sure I went to jail. Okay? It's like, yeah, I would. I would in a heartbeat. Whatever you sow, you're going to reap. And I'm going to make sure that you reap it about as fast as you can so you don't have to learn this lesson when you're 30 years old. You want to get yourself into trouble? Fine. My son drives around a little tiny little not a rabbit, what is that little piece of garbage? No, a little brown car. It's a Volkswagen Jetta. Drives around a little Jetta. And boy, that thing, the muffler's gone on it. The windshield wipers didn't even work for one whole winter. And he wasn't going to spend any money because I brought him up telling him that when you get a car to get you from point A to point B. Do not buy a new car. Do not buy a car that's going to soak up all of your money or anything like that. Get a reliable car that goes forever. And then after it's on its last leg, about ready to drop, then by then you'll have enough money stored to where you'll never go in the hole doing this kind of stuff. He drove that car. It has no handles on the outside of the car. You take your finger on the inside and you hit this little thing on the inside of a hole in the side of the door, and it opens up. And it's a piece of junk. And he has driven that thing. I came out one day and he's parked. He's on a log. He drove up trying to go up the driveway, and our driveway's 20 feet wide. He goes on the side, and basically he gets high-centered on a log, okay, in this car. He's driving it in places he shouldn't be driving it. He knows that whatever you do, you're going to reap for it. It's your car. Do whatever. But learn your lesson with the piece of garbage before you buy this one, because you'll go in debt forever once you buy this one. Learn it now. He's very okay with that. Addicts are not okay with that. Most of the people that graduate out of our program within a year are driving nicer cars than me. I drive what's called, my wife and I have two rigs, the rehab cab and the druggie buggy. Okay? They're both vans because we have to have vans to be able to haul everybody in. Okay? And they're both piece of junks. Okay? when the addicts are driving better cars than you or I within a year, something is wrong. Okay? They're getting right back into the same mindset. They need to feel good about themselves, so they need to drive something good. They need to feel good about themselves, so they need to be in the nice house. They need to feel good about themselves, so they overextend themselves, and boom, they get caught up into the trap. Our job is to educate them on this a little bit. Don't do it. Just don't do it. We're going to find you an old rattle trap that's just very, very secure motor-wise, and it'll get you around for 3-4 years. Save your money. Be very wise. Our job as mentors is to first make sure that we are wise with what we're doing so they can see it. Okay? If you're driving around in your Mercedes and you're driving around with, which I shouldn't say that because I had one at one time, but I got rid of it because of ministry. But if you're driving around in whatever nice car and you can't afford it, there's a problem. If you can't afford it, it's a whole different ballgame. But if you can't afford it, they're going to see right through that. You're giving them an outlook of what we're trying to get them to be. And so we have to make sure that this is something that is safe for them. Does that make sense? I don't want to be too hard on everybody in here. Obviously, you guys are here to try to figure out what we can do. Make sure that the addict is sleeping at night. Okay? If the addict is sleeping at night, then it's going to be good. Split their day up into 3 different sections. Sleeping at night, and then during the day, you're going to put them in physical work, and then that afternoon, 8, 8, and 8. You sleep for 8, you work for 8, and then you can have pleasure for 8. You can read a book, you can sit and watch TV if you want for a couple hours, you can, worship, and we can, whatever, okay? But if you split it up, the body really needs it. Leaving the addict alone for a period of time is unhealthy, and you'll become depressive. Know that when the addict stops using, it's a good chance that the body's going to become ill. This is called physical dependence. The body's going to get kind of sick. You will make it through it. So will they. Be a good listener. How the addict is going to tell you the worst things that are happening in his life at the time. Don't be surprised or upset at their comments. Thank them for their honesty. Always speak softly. Demand that they speak softly also. Stop all unhealthy friends from visiting or calling. Cut them off from all unhealthy friends. Keep a record on how the addict is doing. Limit the amount of television that they watch and what they watch, how they watch it. Make sure that they're sitting up straight or whatever they need to do. If the person is married, this is one that I promote this to keep them from craving. Have sex every day, 3 times a day. Psychologists say that I was perverse by giving out that information. It had nothing to do with perverse. Okay? What it had to do with is, do you want them to crave and you want them to go back to using? Or do you want them to go through the withdrawals under safe dopamine measurements that are going into their brain? The Lord, if you're married, the Lord's given you personal rights to each other to be able to accomplish that. If they're not married, don't mention it. Don't even go there. Okay? Last but not least, help the person keeper get a job at the time that is healthy, not sooner. Otherwise, they're going to ruin it. Support them in the court cases. Walk through them until the whole process is done. John 8:36, if the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. And they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house. A qualified mentor home is just a mentor home that has Christ, and they're ready to serve. And that's pretty much it.